You think smart people win. You think intelligence is the ultimate advantage. But here is what no one tells you. The smartest person in the room often loses to someone else, someone quieter, someone less impressive on paper, someone who just refuses to stop. Welcome to Elingo, where you learn English and discover perspectives that change how you see success. Today, we are talking about something most people get wrong. They worship intelligence. They think being smart is enough. But the truth is harder and more powerful. There are 5 types of people who consistently outperform the merely intelligent. And most of us ignore them because we are too busy chasing the wrong thing. We live in a culture that celebrates genius. Schools reward the student who gets it fast. Companies hire the candidate with the highest grades, so we chase it. We compare IQs. We feel small when someone seems smarter, but here is the problem. Intelligence without other qualities is like a sports car without fuel. It looks impressive, but it does not go anywhere. You know this feeling. You see someone brilliant, someone who learns fast, who impresses everyone, and you feel inadequate. Most of us carry this quiet fear, the fear that we are not smart enough, that success belongs to the naturally gifted ones. It makes you want to quit before you even start. But here is the truth. That fear is based on a lie. Because when you look at the people who actually achieve things, who build businesses, who master skills, you notice something strange. They are not always the most intelligent. Instead, they fall into 5 specific types. 5 types of people who turn small advantages into massive results, and every single one can be developed. They are choices you make every day. Let me show you who they are. Type 1. The relentlessly persistent. This is the person who does not stop, not because they love the work, not because they feel motivated, but because stopping is simply not in their vocabulary. Think about 2 people learning English. Person A has natural talent. They understand grammar instantly. Their pronunciation is good from the start. Person B struggles. They forget vocabulary. They mix up tenses. After 1 month, Person A is clearly ahead. Everyone assumes Person A will succeed, and Person B will give up. But watch what happens at the 1-year mark. Person A has barely improved since month 3. They relied on talent. They did not push when it got hard. Person B kept going every single day, through frustration, through embarrassment, through plateau after plateau. And now, at 1 year, Person B speaks better, not because they were smarter, but because they were more persistent. Here is the secret about persistence. It is not about motivation. It is not about feeling inspired. It is about continuing when you feel nothing, when progress is invisible, when doubt screams at you. Most people are not stuck because they lack intelligence, but because they lack resilience. The persistent person knows that most people quit right before the breakthrough. They know that consistency beats intensity. While intelligent people wait for perfect conditions, persistent people work with what they have. Let me give you a real example. Think about writers. The most intelligent writer can craft beautiful sentences. They understand complex literary devices. But if they only write when inspired, they produce 3 stories a year. The persistent writer writes every morning, 500 words, no excuses. In 1 year, they complete 4 novels. Yes, they need editing, but they have material to work with. 5 years later, the persistent writer has published works while the intelligent writer is still waiting to feel ready. Persistence is not dramatic. It is boring. It is doing the same small thing day after day. But consistency looks boring until it becomes unbeatable. This is the first type, more dangerous than intelligence, the one who simply will not quit. Type 2, the endlessly curious. The second type is the one who is not the smartest, but the most curious. Smart people often think they already know enough. They rely on what comes easily. They stop asking questions. Because questions feel like admitting ignorance. But curious people never stop learning. They ask why. They explore sideways. They connect ideas from different fields. Smart people quit when intelligence stops feeding their ego. Curious people keep learning when ego says they know enough. While the intelligent person protects their ego, the curious person expands their mind. And over years, curiosity builds a knowledge base that raw intelligence never could. Imagine someone working in marketing. They are not the smartest strategist, but they are curious. They ask the sales team questions. They study customer psychology. They learn basic coding. They read about behavioral economics. None of this is required for their job, but curiosity does not wait for requirements. 5 years later, this person sees connections others miss. They solve problems from unexpected angles. They innovate not because they are brilliant, but because they have a wider, deeper map of how things work. The curious person understands something profound. Every field connects to every other field. Biology teaches you systems thinking applicable to business. History teaches you human nature applicable to marketing. The intelligent specialist knows one thing deeply. The curious generalist knows many things and sees the patterns between them. When you learn English with pure intelligence, you memorize rules. You study grammar charts. You might progress quickly at first, but at advanced levels, pure memorization fails. You need cultural context. You need to understand idioms. The curious learner has been reading novels, watching films, listening to podcasts, asking native speakers questions. They built a three-dimensional understanding, while the intelligent learner built a two-dimensional one. Curiosity compounds. Every new thing you learn gives you more hooks to hang new learning on. The curious person at age 40 has 30 years of accumulated knowledge, creating a web of understanding. The intelligent person who stopped being curious at 20 has deep but disconnected knowledge that stands alone. This is the second type, more dangerous than intelligence, the one who never stops asking why. Type 3, the infinitely adaptable. The third type is the person who adapts. Intelligence often comes with rigidity. Smart people develop systems that work, then cling to those systems even when the world changes. They invested so much in being right that being wrong feels like losing their identity. But adaptable people treat every situation as new data. They change strategies without shame. They pivot without seeing it as failure. And in a world that changes faster every year, adaptability is the ultimate advantage. Think about technology. Think about entire industries disappearing. Blockbuster was run by smart people. Kodak had brilliant engineers. Nokia had talented designers, but they could not adapt fast enough. Meanwhile, people with less impressive credentials but more flexibility saw the shift and moved with it. Intelligence told them what was. Adaptability asked what could be, and what could be always wins eventually. Here is what adaptability looks like personally. You are learning English. You spend 3 months using one method. Textbooks, grammar exercises. It works a little, but you plateau. An intelligent person doubles down. They think, I just need to work harder at this method. They grind, but they stay stuck because the method has limits. An adaptable person notices the plateau and asks, what if this method is not right for me? They switch to conversation practice. They try podcasts. They experiment until they find what works. Adaptability requires humility. It requires treating your own opinions as hypotheses rather than facts. The intelligent person says, I figured it out. The adaptable person says, I found something that works for now. One statement closes learning. The other keeps it open. And in the long run, the person who keeps learning beats the person who stopped, every time. This is the third type, more dangerous than intelligence. The one who changes with the world instead of demanding the world stay the same. Type 4, the emotionally resilient. The fourth type is the person with emotional resilience. You can be the smartest person alive, but if you fall apart under pressure, if criticism destroys you, if failure makes you quit, your intelligence becomes worthless. Emotional resilience is the ability to feel pain and keep moving, to face rejection and try again. Most intelligent people have fragile egos because their identity rests entirely on being smart. When they encounter something that makes them look stupid, they crumble. They avoid challenges that might expose their limits. But emotionally resilient people know something deeper. They know failure is information, not identity. They know embarrassment fades, but regret stays. They know the only real failure is not trying. You are learning English. You understand the theory. You know the grammar rules. But when you try to speak, you freeze. You are afraid of making mistakes, afraid people will judge your accent. So you stay silent. You wait until you are perfect. But perfection never comes. Now imagine someone else. They know less grammar than you. Their vocabulary is smaller, but they speak anyway. They make mistakes. They sound awkward. People correct them, and it hurts, but they speak again and again. 6 months later, they are fluent while you are still waiting to be ready. Intelligence made you cautious. Emotional resilience made them capable. Resilient people feel everything, the fear, the shame, the disappointment. But they do not let feelings dictate actions. They feel fear and speak anyway. Think about athletes. The intelligent athlete understands strategy perfectly. But when they lose a match, they spiral. The resilient athlete loses and thinks, what can I learn? They analyze mistakes without attaching them to their worth as a person. They separate performance from identity. This is why resilient people often overtake intelligent people, because improvement requires failure. And failure requires the ability to fail without falling apart. The intelligent person protects themselves from failure. The resilient person uses failure as raw material for growth. This is the fourth type, more dangerous than intelligence, the one who treats pain as information instead of identity. Type 5, the deeply self-aware. The fifth type is the deeply self-aware person. This is about understanding yourself with brutal honesty, knowing your patterns, recognizing your triggers, seeing your blind spots. Most intelligent people think they know themselves because they can analyze things. But you can be brilliant at understanding the world and completely blind to your own motivations and self-sabotage patterns. The self-aware person knows when they are procrastinating and why. They know what situations make them defensive. They know which strengths become weaknesses when overused, and knowing all this, they can intervene. They can catch themselves mid-pattern and choose differently. Intelligence gives you tools to understand external problems. Self-awareness gives you tools to stop sabotaging yourself. Two people want to learn English. Both are equally intelligent. Person A starts strong, studies every day for 2 weeks. Then slowly stops. They tell themselves they are too busy. They will start again Monday. Monday comes and goes. They do not understand why they cannot maintain consistency. Person B also struggles, but they are self-aware. They notice the pattern. They ask, what happens right before I quit? They realize they quit when progress slows, when the excitement fades. They recognize this pattern from every other skill they tried. Guitar, programming, same pattern. Because they see the pattern, they can address it. They do not need constant excitement. They expect the plateau. They prepare for it. They build systems that work even when motivation disappears. They are not smarter than person A. They just know themselves better. And knowing yourself is the ultimate leverage. Think about business leaders. The intelligent leader makes smart decisions based on data. But if they are not self-aware, their ego interferes. They ignore feedback that threatens their self-image. They surround themselves with people who agree. The self-aware leader knows their ego exists. They know they have blind spots. They actively seek disagreement. They ask, what am I not seeing? They admit mistakes quickly because their identity is not tied to being right. It is tied to being effective. Self-awareness means knowing your energy patterns. Knowing you are not productive in the afternoon, so you schedule deep work in the morning. The intelligent person fights their nature. The self-aware person works with it. Most people repeat the same mistakes for decades because they never see the pattern. The self-aware person sees the common thread. They extract lessons from experience that intelligent people miss. This is the fifth type, more dangerous than intelligence, the one who knows themselves well enough to get out of their own way. The compound effect. Now, here is what makes these 5 types truly terrifying. They compound, and they compound with each other. A persistent person who is also curious learns more over time than either quality alone. An adaptable person who is also emotionally resilient can navigate any change without breaking. A self-aware person who is also persistent fixes their own obstacles while moving forward. Intelligence is additive. You are either smart or you are not, and that level stays relatively stable. But these 5 qualities multiply. Each one makes the others more powerful. Imagine someone who has all 5. They persist through obstacles. They stay curious, so they keep learning new approaches. They adapt when old methods stop working. They have the emotional resilience to fail repeatedly without quitting. And they have the self-awareness to recognize patterns and optimize their process. This person is unstoppable, not because they are the smartest, but because they have built a system of qualities that compounds into something far beyond raw intelligence. 5 years of compounding beats raw intelligence. 10 years makes IQ irrelevant. 20 years of compounding and no one even remembers who started ahead. They only see who built something extraordinary. So what do you do with this? Start with persistence. Stop measuring how smart you are. Start measuring how consistent you are. Did you practice today? Did you show up even when you did not feel like it? Build the habit of showing up. Not perfectly, not brilliantly, just consistently. Next, feed your curiosity deliberately. Choose one topic you know nothing about and learn it for 30 days. Read about philosophy if you study business. Learn about biology if you work in art. Cross-pollinate your mind. The connections you build between unrelated fields create insights that pure intelligence never will. Make curiosity a daily practice. Then practice adaptability in small ways. Change your routine. Try a different method. Ask yourself, what if I am wrong about this? Hold your opinions lightly. Update your beliefs when new information appears. Say, I used to think this, but now I think that. Feel proud of growth instead of ashamed of being wrong. Every time you adapt in small things, you build the muscle to adapt in big things. For emotional resilience, expose yourself to discomfort deliberately. Do the thing that scares you. Do the thing that scares you. Speak even when your accent is not perfect. Share your work even when it is not polished. Each time you survive discomfort, your tolerance grows. Each time you fail and continue, your identity shifts from I am someone who does not fail to I am someone who tries. And that shift changes everything. Finally, develop self-awareness through reflection. Spend 10 minutes each week asking, what patterns did I notice in myself? When did I procrastinate and why? What triggered my anxiety? Write it down. Look for patterns across weeks and months. The goal is to see yourself clearly because you cannot change patterns you do not see. These are not tips. These are not hacks. These are fundamental shifts in how you approach every day. Intelligence might give you a 10% advantage at the start, but persistence, curiosity, adaptability, resilience, and self-awareness compound. They double your effectiveness, then double it again, until the gap grows so wide that everyone forgets who started ahead. They only see who finished. So here is my question for you. Who do you want to be? The person who was smart but did not do much with it? Or the person who was not the smartest but became one of these 5 types? Because the choice is yours. Intelligence is an accident of birth, but everything else, everything that actually matters, is a decision you make today, tomorrow, and every day after. The world does not remember the most intelligent. It remembers the ones who persisted when others quit, who stayed curious when others grew comfortable, who adapted when others clung to the past, who kept going when others fell apart, who knew themselves well enough to keep improving. These 5 types of people are not born, they are built, day by day, choice by choice, failure by failure. And every single one of them is more dangerous, more powerful, more successful than intelligence alone could ever be. Not because intelligence does not matter, but because intelligence without these 5 qualities is potential without realization. It is power without application. Intelligence opens the door, but only these 5 traits decide who actually walks through it. If this perspective touched something in you, save it. Come back to it when you doubt yourself. When you feel like intelligence is the only thing that matters. When you forget that the real advantage is built, not given, and subscribe to Elingo. Not just to learn English, but to keep discovering ideas that reshape how you see yourself and what you are capable of. Because we are here to help you become all 5 of these types. The persistent, the curious, the adaptable, the resilient, the self-aware. Elingo, where language meets perspective, and perspective changes everything.